Hello everybody, and welcome to the presentation of my research project, which is called Argumentative Writing and Self-Assessment through Toulmin's model. Okay, so let's start. Well, let me tell you the story behind this project, okay? Imagine that you enter to a 10th grade classroom and ask your students to start writing about some social controversial topics. Something like surrogacy, terrorism, well, stuff like that. They actually have really good opinions about it. They can express their opinions easily, but their ideas are not clearly developed, right? I mean, they can be disorganized, they can be lacking any kind of support, their ideas can be not well connected, opinions are not fully explained. So these problems come here because they believe that when they have to write something about their opinion or argumentative papers, it's just telling you what they think and that's it. Even though they have been exposed to previous instruction about argumentative writing since they were 8th graders. So they still struggle. Argumentative essays are part of the curriculum, but students still struggle to be solid arguments, right? So there is an additional issue. Apart from that, students have limited reflection on their own writing. I mean, they write, time is a constraint, they are really worried about finishing on time and delivering, and there is little awareness of how arguments are constructed, yes? So that's based on the curriculum, because the curriculum, it's asking them to write, to finish texts, but it's not giving any kind of emphasis to the argument quality or even the reflection after writing, yes? So that is the place in which I identify the gap, right? They are supposed to be writing structured arguments. They are supposed to be developing these skills that help them learn, but they are weak in developing their own arguments and in terms of self-awareness, okay? So that's the idea. So let me tell you what research question and objectives come from finding out this gap. The research question of my project is what changes occur in 10th grade EFL students' argumentative writing in terms of structure, vocabulary, and strength of arguments through the implementation of Toulmin's argumentative model and self-assessment strategies together, okay, in the same task, which is taking us to the general objective. What I'm looking for, my main goal here is to examine changes in students' argumentative writing through the implementation of Toulmin's model and self-assessment. So in terms of specific objectives, what I am intending to do is to analyze the inclusion and quality of Toulmin's argumentative components. Originally, the model is giving us 6 components, but due to time constraints and curricular issues, we're going to be approaching claim, data, warrant, and rebuttal in students' argumentative writing. Another objective is to assess students' performance in writing solid argumentative texts. And finally, to estimate to what extent students can self-assess their performance in writing solid argumentative texts. I mean, how well can they identify if they did it well or not, okay? So there is a theoretical framework that is giving a solid base to this research project. This study is grounded in 3 key concepts: argumentative writing, Toulmin argumentative model, and self-assessment. Yes, first, argumentative writing is understood as the ability to express an opinion and support it logically and with a really well-structured reasoning, right? According to Ken Highland, writing in academic contexts, it's actually not only about expressing ideas, but knowing how to organize those ideas in a way that they can be meaningful for the audience they are aiming to, right? Similarly, Toulmin emphasizes that effective arguments require justification, yes, not just opinions, highlighting the need for structure in students' writing, yeah? The second main construct of this theoretical framework is, as you can see here, Toulmin's argument model. As I already told you, the model proposes 6 steps, but I'm going to be coping with 4, which are claim, data, warrant, and rebuttal. The students have the claim. Some of them can have ideas of the data, but they don't look for the connection between the claim and the data. That's where the warrant comes, and they never think about anybody opposing their idea. They don't consider that for writing. So this is providing a clear structure for argumentation. Finally, we're going to be focused on self-assessment as a key process for learning, of course. According to David Bott, self-assessment allows students to take an active role in the evaluation process. And according to David Andrade, self-assessment promotes reflection and it's helping learners identify strengths and not only weaknesses, because normally students are focused on their weaknesses, and well, the idea is to also see the strengths that they have to work from, which is taking us to literature review from these three specific constructs. The first one related to argumentative writing in EFL. So previous research has highlighted the importance of developing argumentative writing skills in EFL contexts, yes, as students often struggle to construct well-supported and coherent arguments, yes. In this case, Ken Highland, as you can see here, is talking about that one of the main challenges here is not generating the ideas, but organizing them, right? Well, in terms of Toulmin argumentative modeling in education, well, as you can see through my speech, it improves the structure and complexity of arguments. It makes them more sophisticated, right? Well, one study conducted by Qi Xiaoming found that the explicit instruction of the model really helped the students to improve in the quality of their arguments. Yes, they were previously writing without any kind of like warrant, and the opposing opinion was not existing. So after teaching the Toulmin argument model, that was evident. Okay, Rebecca Stapleton argues that Toulmin framework helps learners go beyond opinion, yes, and base the response in more analytical and logically structured supported arguments. Okay. And then we over here have the role of self-assessment. At the same time, the research on self-assessment is here, and it has also proved that the self-assessment helps a lot in writing, yes. David Bott highlights that self-assessment encourages learners to take responsibility of the process, while David Andrade emphasizes the role of self-assessment in helping them identify strengths and areas of improvement. Okay, so these studies under these three constructs contribute to this area, but show us the gap, yes, which is combining writing for argumentative purposes with self-assessment. Okay, over here we're going to talk about the research design. Yes, well, this project is mainly has a mainly qualitative approach in terms of research combined with action research, okay, which is allowing me, the teacher, to be also the researcher, to be like always with them, and it's going to be having a descriptive analysis. The participants of this study are 10 grade EFL students from a really prestigious school in Bogota. It's a bilingual school, and this group has a particular thing, which is that they belong to the emphasis on social studies that is conducted through 10 and 11th grade for students who are thinking on study a career on the field of social studies. That's why this research comes to be important, because they really need to be good at the moment of giving arguments. If they plan to be lawyers, if they are planning to be psychologists, educators, journalists, they really need to know how to build strong arguments, okay? I'm going to also show you the instruments here. The pre and post argumentative essays are going to be the same. The student is going to choose one essay to write it before the instruction, and then the same after the instruction. Rubrics to evaluate both stages. Self-assessment checklists for each of the tasks that they do, and my observation journal. So as you can see here, I'm giving you 2 samples of the essays. They are focused on different careers. I am offering the students the possibility to choose from 4 key careers, which are law, psychology, education, and also social work. And per career, I'm giving 4 topics. They are going to choose only one, yeah, and then they will develop their essay following IELTS-like patterns, because they are also being trained for the IELTS essay. So this one is gonna also help us to develop those skills, as that's not of the objectives, but it's aligned with the curriculum of the school. While after the student writes pre or post, is going to be applying this specific I'm going to be using this specific rubric to evaluate. When am I going to evaluate? The 5 steps that I'm telling you: the claim, the position, the warrant, and the rebuttal, and the overall argumentative structure. I have some different descriptors for each of them, in which I'm telling if the element is absent, emerging, developed, or consolidated. So when I have one student writing in pre with the rubric, I will have the post writing with the rubric, and I'm going to make a comparison, a scripted comparison over there. Then I have the self-assessment checklist, which the student is going to use in the pre-model instruction task and the post-model instruction task. So the student can see if the opinion was really well expressed, the reasons are included, the examples to support are included as well, the examples are explained, the rebuttal is mentioned as an opposite opinion, the structure of the piece of writing is correct, the ideas are organized, if the student got to be focused on the topic, or if the essay has a solid argumentative text. Then this is my observation journal. I will be using it when I see students' papers. I mean, while I'm checking a paper, I'm going to be also making some notes, and I'm going to take it to the lessons of the implementation to see if there is anything notable that I can write over here in terms of these categories: the Toulmin model, the writing performance, the use of a self-assessment, and notable events. After that, this is the timeline of the procedure, yes. So first of all, we start with an initial writing task. Students know nothing, they just receive the paper and write. What I will do is to give them also the self-assessment rubric, and I'm going to use the rubric I just showed you to evaluate it. The intervention is going to take from 6 to 8 lessons in which the Toulmin elements are going to be explained and practiced: the claim, the data, the warrant, and the rebuttal. And some mini tasks are going to be self-assessed in terms of each of the elements to double check if the students are understanding or the elements or not. Then we have the post-test, which is the final writing task that will go also with a self-assessment checklist. Those are going to be the important moments, and the reflecting on the development that I'm going to have during the development of this implementation. Well, let's talk about key references here. I mean, the foundational theory of this is, of course, Stephen Toulmin, talking about the uses of argument, yes, in which he states his specific model. Well, now in terms of argumentative writing in EFL, it is also focused on research in argumentative writing by Ken Highland. As you can see, he has 2 books about it from 2004 and 2016. These books are explaining the writing in a second language requires not only expressing ideas, but the organization of them in an effective way. Here we have Rebecca Stapleton in her research article assessing critical thinking in the writing of Japanese university students. She is actually discussing how students' difficulties in critical thinking also are affecting or supporting their second language writing. Yes. In terms of argumentation and reasoning, we have some contributions from different authors. Actually, here we have Walton in his book Fundamentals of Critical Argumentation. He emphasizes that the strength of arguments in argumentative writing depend on the quality of the reasoning and justification, right? So for the pedagogical application, we have the contribution of Kim Xiaomei in 2013. She was actually applying the model with her students, demonstrating that the use of the model can improve the complexity of the arguments that they do. For self-assessment, we have also remarkable authors like David Booth, Enhancing Learning Through Self-Assessment, which is a book. In his work, he is highlighting the role of self-assessment in terms of promoting learner autonomy. I mean, when I discover things, I can do something to improve them. And we have David Andrade in 2010 explaining how self-assessment helps students reflect on their learning and identifying ideas for improvement. Well, together these contributions are providing a theoretical and pedagogical framework to my study. As you could see, my study explores how the integration of Toulmin argumentative model and self-assessment can support the development of argumentative writing in EFL students. Combining the structured argumentation with reflective practices, I am aiming to contribute to both teaching and learning processes in the classroom. Thank you so much for listening to my project.